ZIKHARAT, the Holy Book of Revelation. Preface. This book was written to introduce you to all your creators, to the entire dynasty of the supreme creators in our galaxy, Zahmesh, the Milky Way, and to our universal creator, the father of all dynasties and civilizations, the light of truth, the creator of all our gods, of all creators. This book is written for everyone. It has to be studied by oneself. It does not need interpretation or explanation. Everything that is written here is exactly what was meant, exactly what our universal creator wanted to tell us. Do not look for religious and mystical authorities who will interpret and explain this scripture to you. Those who dare to interpret the book, will test you, your mind, common sense, and faith. You must understand that all trials, temptations, and shocks, all wars, misfortunes, and famines are part of my great plan, all of which are necessary for you to learn to cope with all the challenges that have fallen to your lot. In difficult moments, you have to remember that these trials are given to you for a reason, but in order to learn, in order to become stronger, to purify yourself and become worthy of enlightenment, worthy of returning home to the spiritual dimension, Midgard, Exelion, the ethereal dimension. These are all names of one dimension, to your parents in the great dynasty. This book, along with other revelations recorded in the neighboring star systems in the realms of the creators of your parents, is the first book that will reveal to you the entire truth about our universe, about its structure and laws. All the holy books that were given to you earlier described your immediate creators, your parents, and the parents of your parents. The ancient Vedas, the Bible, the Quran, all the manuscripts and legends are local beliefs, but do not think of them as a deception. They contain a grain of truth, but not everything that is written there is true. Your holy scriptures were edited and rewritten in order to mislead you and to turn you away from your gods, from your parents. Now I am opening all the universes, not only for you, but also for your parents, gods, supreme gods, and elder creators. Previously, they only guessed about what was happening outside of their ownership. But now you have reached the level of development when the whole truth is revealed, both about you and about everyone else. This is a great and joyful event, both for you and for all the elder civilizations in your dynasty, in your galaxy, for you are their descendants, and now you are old enough to communicate with them and with me directly. You will understand your place in the universe, galaxy, and your place in our great multiverse. Discard all doubts and trust in what is written in this book. It will shed the light of truth on you. The creation of the worlds. I, your universal creator, the light of truth, am uncreated. I have always been and always will be. There is nowhere else like me. I am the one. You will never be able to see me and describe me because I live outside your multiverse, outside the dimensions and time that you know. Do not try and do not strive to achieve this. It will be convenient for you to imagine me as an infinite space of ether and energy, which is 3 times bigger than the multiverse created by me, together with the intergalactic space. Having studied the diagram of the structure of the multiverse in your galaxy, Dynasty, you will understand why I can be called boundless. As the multiverse grows, I also grow. When Prophet Aksantir writes these words, I have already created 645 billion galaxies, dynasties, of which you are a part. Such a colossal number, such a diversity of life is my gift to you. I needed only a few dozens or hundreds of dynasties to be not alone. But having seen the value of life, I created 645 billion other galaxies, different variations of life with the same universal laws and rules. I want to assure you that I will continue to create life forever, and that the previously created dynasties will never disappear. You will all live forever. The structure of the multiverse will be constantly changing and transforming. The older dynasties, galaxies, having reached the necessary level of development, will unite with other equally developed and enlightened brothers and sisters from another dynasty. In about 4 billion years, this will happen for the first time with your galaxy. Your galaxy Zahmesh will begin the process of merging with the neighboring galaxy Andromeda. The process of merging your two galaxies will take about 2 billion years, after which you will move together to the next stage of enlightenment and merging with other galaxies, both younger and older. The first creation of life. The first of the 645 billion galaxies was created by me 2152 trillion years ago, 2 quadrillion 152 trillion years ago. 1 year on inhabited planets is a constant unit of time for all universes and all star systems, like the one in which your planet Ambrosia is located. 2 trillion years before this date, 2154 trillion years ago, the first 5 creators were created, with whom the life in our multiverse began. Since then, I have been creating the first creators who started their dynasties in 645 billion galaxies. All of you are family and relatives. All of you will be together someday, living together, creating and fighting with challenges. The material, physical dimension, everything that you see around you is created for the young spirits, which you are, to be trained and prepared for the infinite life at home in the spiritual dimension. Other names of the spiritual dimension are the ethereal dimension, Exalian, Midgard. Every light spirit, a child of the gods, of the supreme gods, and of all creators, is trained at home. He spends the first decades together with his parents, of whom there can be more than 1 or 2. After that, he is introduced to other light spirits who teach the young spirit for another 5,000 years. At the end of this stage, the first incarnation takes place in the material dimension on one of the planets in the ownership of the parents. Up to 70,000 years, you can incarnate and live many lives, many scenarios and vocations, and receive lessons from both your own light spirits and dark spirits who do not incarnate like light spirits, but are created to teach light spirits. Demons also teach you, and they can use all methods of influence on the incarnate if he continues to resist the training, if he does not pay attention to the lessons taught by the teachers, and if necessary, they can punish the incarnate for a serious offense. Those who have successfully passed all the lessons and purified themselves ascend after death to the home where they continue their path. Those who fail to pass the lessons within the allotted time go to a separate dimension where they wait for the opportunity to try again. This process is called erasure. Previously, everyone thought that it was the true death of the spirit, but now everyone knows that it is only a pause before a new attempt and further infinite life. Do not be afraid of this fate, for few people reach it, but it is not the end of your path. This book will help you to pass your lessons faster and to ascend to the spiritual dimension, to the home in Exalian. And while passing these lessons and trials, remember that I, your universal creator, the light of truth, have also been incarnated and continue to be incarnated in your worlds. And without having access to previous knowledge and memory, I have lived this path that you are living now billions of times and will live again and again. I can always be somewhere near you. I know what it is like to go through your path. I always go through incarnations as a part of my consciousness. So be calm. I am always watching and taking care of you. I know about everything and about everyone, in every moment, in all the dimensions, now, in the past, and in the future. Here you may have a question about your destiny. Is it written and predetermined? and you just live it? The answer is no. You create your future, and all the elders see only many variants of this future, moving along the timeline. There's a prepared path, a vocation, a destiny for everyone, but only you decide whether to follow this path and when to start walking. The future is vague. Even I do not look far into it, although I can do so, but I choose to live it together with you, to be near you, and to walk this unknown path with you. I choose to rejoice with you in your feats, discoveries, and moments of joy. I choose to live with you through sadness and suffering, disappointment and upheaval, death and destruction. I choose to live and walk into the bright future with you. This is the manifestation of my great and boundless love for you. This is the highest good to which we all go, following our vocation, following the path, the service for which we were created. The highest good is the common bright future to which you are all heading, to which I am going together with you. Universal Creator, Light of Truth. The structure of our universe. The planet you are on now is called Ambrosia. It is one of the 8 planets that are in the possession of your All-Father. 3.4 trillion years, 3,400 billion years, and All-Mother, 3.1 trillion years, 3,100 billion years. They are the supreme architects, and together with their first children of light, the supreme gods, they created everything in the material dimension. Stars, planets, asteroids, satellites and comets, every stone and grain of sand, every blade of grass and tree, from small microorganisms that cannot be seen without magnifying devices to giant animals on land and in water. All of this was not only created by your parents, but the supreme architects, the All-Father and All-Mother, constantly maintain the processes, control, and remain in everything you see around you. Your entire body consists of cells, tiny structures that are constantly controlled and regulated by the All-Parents. Even the air that you breathe is full of molecules of different gases that make up your atmosphere, the blue sky. All this is a gift to you from the supreme architects. They are the life, the source from which all living and non-living things in the space around you come. Whenever you stop and are distracted from all the affairs of everyday life, you should always remember who is the source of everything around you. You have to treat with love and respect both living animals, birds, fish, and plants, and the stone that makes up the planet. Everything around us is also a creation of the supreme gods and the younger creators in the domain of the supreme architects. And all this is a great laborious and hard work to create life, to create everything around, to create the new, something that has never been here before, never existed. Always remember this when you look at the mountains, the sky, an animal or a bird, a plant or a leaf on a tree. Appreciate everything and thank your creators. The etheric body, do you think it cannot be destroyed? Your creators, your parents, also created you, created your core of the personality, which is always safe in a separate dimension. They created the etheric body that you use in the spiritual dimension and created the physical body that you are using at this moment. After death in the material dimension, you return home into the etheric body that the creators have prepared for you. After death, the death of your etheric body in a battle, you remain safe. Your core of personality is in another dimension, from where you return to Exalion, Midgard, to a new etheric body, surrounded by the parents, and then go to rebirth. You are incarnated again in the material dimension, and without access to the previous memory, even if you have already ascended, you take lessons again, strive for purification, enlightenment, and ascension. And you can also take the path of rebirth voluntarily for the sake of a new experience. Your parents went through such a rebirth more than once. Those who have ascended can also incarnate into the material dimension to fulfill a certain mission and service. This is not a rebirth, so they retain the memory and knowledge to fulfill the task. Above the Exalion dimension is the dimension of the gods. Hanan, or Xantilion. In this dimension, you all are unconsciously. Your energy essence is located. The supreme gods, elder creators, powerful demons and archdemons, powerful angels and archangels can be there consciously and influence you, both beneficially and harmfully in the case of demons and archdemons. The dimension where the core of the personality is located is even higher. It is completely untouchable for everyone. Only I can enter it. There you are safe. Dark spirits. The supreme architects, the All-Father and the All-Mother, before creating the first light spirits, who later become the supreme gods, create dark spirits, who later become the dark supreme gods. All the supreme gods, both dark and light, create new spirits, their children. The dark spirits do not incarnate in the same way as the light spirits, although they also receive their training and serve according to their vocation. The role of the dark spirits is to teach and test the moral principles and inclinations of the light spirits. The older dark spirits also train the younger dark spirits. All of them, as well as everyone who follows their vocation, are happy to fulfill their role. They are part of the highest good. They are those who support progress through non-violent means. The dark spirits will always fulfill their role. At the higher levels of civilization, they will also nurture the younger generation of spirits, both light and dark. Among themselves, the dark spirits value loyalty, devotion, friendship, and even love to the one with whom they create a family. However, they're not united to each other by love, as it is between light spirits. The dark spirits feel respect, devotion, and closeness to their own, to those who deserve it. The dark spirits do not learn to get rid of the ego and vices. They use them to better teach the light spirits. Through thoughts and emotions, through images and inclinations, they transmit provocative and destructive lines of behavior to the incarnate light spirits, which the latter have to learn to fight and eliminate, to learn lessons about how not to behave. This is what the purification of incarnate light spirits is all about. They learn lessons by observing themselves and communicating with dark spirits and demons, and are freed from their harmful influence. To learn these lessons, as well as to live different roles and scenarios of life, light spirits incarnate into the material dimension. The dark spirits treat the light young spirits as students, as disciples, who need to be brought to a certain level of self-awareness and control of their minds and bodies. The methods of the dark spirits can be harsh: illnesses, shocks, trials and temptations, false religion and worldview. Misdeeds are followed by punishment, but only until the lesson is learned. The dark spirits are interested in guiding the light spirits to their ascension and return home to the spiritual dimension. This brings them pleasure and reward for their service. Light spirits should treat dark spirits with understanding and respect as mentors and teachers. Do not be angry with them for their teaching methods. They fulfill the role for which they were created. They serve for the highest good of all living. Demons. Demons are the universal forces of destruction and death. They sow temptation and treachery, weakness and despair, and are the source of the greatest vices that tempt the light spirits. All violent actions or wars of conquest come from them and are controlled by them. Demons have the ability to incarnate into the cultivated bodies of people and perform their destructive acts through them. Under normal circumstances, demons do not invade the material dimension en masse. They act alone or in small groups. They get all their power and might, authority from you by succumbing to temptations, believing that they will lead you to a brighter future. You give them power, strength, and impunity, and enable them to commit atrocities and realize their plans for the destruction of civilization. When the demons take over the civilization on the planet, when people lose their moral guidelines, succumb to temptations, debauchery, ambitions, treachery, when you turn away from your gods and go into the abyss, then the moment of destruction of civilization comes. This process of destruction can take place according to different scenarios if the technological level allows a devastating planetary war, which is complemented by famine, disease, and global cataclysms. If the civilization is at an early stage of development, global cataclysms, diseases, and famine occur. Also, demons have the right to destroy a vicious civilization using weapons from other developed civilizations from other planets and star systems. It is a terrible time, full of suffering and deprivation, and it is a just punishment for the treachery to the parents, the creators. Civilization can be destroyed completely, and then all life on the planet perishes. After such a great harvest, the planet becomes uninhabited for millions of years until your creators repopulate it. However, there is another way. When a certain part of humanity survives and begins to repopulate the planet and build a new civilization. This is the course of events that awaits you all in 2027. You can already see how unstable the world is becoming. Wars, armaments of nations, disease epidemics, famine, great cataclysms with earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, and solar flares. All these are the harbingers of the end of your civilization. Why? Am I being cruel by giving you to be torn apart by demons? No, I love you infinitely. I want you to avoid such shocks in the future. But how will you know what to avoid? How will you know what price you will have to pay for debauchery, wars, and treachery? Everything can only be known by comparison. Will you be able to enjoy meeting your loved ones if you have never parted from them? If you have not lost them in a war or a cataclysm? Will you be able to truly love and be faithful if you have not experienced betrayal and have not betrayed others? Will you be able to appreciate and love your family and friends if you have not buried your parents? If you have not lost your children in an accident or in the crucible of fire and war? Will you be able to appreciate what you have if you have never lost it? If you have not lost everything? How will you appreciate the defenders if you have not been torn apart by enemies? I and your creators gave you life, and although it ends here, in the material dimension, you will live forever. Your life will never end. This is my gift to you, a manifestation of my infinite love. You have a lot of time to live everything possible, 70,000 years. During this time, you have to learn lessons, learn to appreciate what is important, and reject what is not important. You have to return to your gods, your creators, and do everything they say. They love you and care about you. You are their relative children. They create all the conditions for your life. They create everything around you: nature, food, water, air, all the beauty around you that pleases the eye and brings happiness and peace. They care about you and wish you all happiness and prosperity. Follow the gods and the supreme gods who created you, and you will be saved. Angels. Angels are the universal forces of light, goodness, and compassion. They are the defenders of the oppressed and the savior of the doomed. They carry the light of truth. Their only goal and aspiration is to protect all of you from the forces of destruction and death from demons. They're much smaller in number. They do not act proactively. You have to come to them and ask for protection. Only then they have the right to intercede for you and protect you from all dark forces, including dark spirits, if they act unjustly. All angels are warriors, and it is an honor for them to protect light spirits. It brings joy and peace. They can also protect dark spirits if they are working for the highest good. Angels act nobly and are not capable of tricks and deception. Unlike demons, if you see an angel in front of you, you can be sure that it is a noble warrior whose purpose is to protect all the worthy those who repent of their sins and vices, those who have returned to their parents and follow them, go to the light. At the same time, one has to be careful because demons can deceive and pretend to be forces of light. And that is why it is important to know the names of angels and to communicate with your God. When you say the name of an angel or of your God, he always hears your appeal and can respond to it. You can ask your God whether you really communicated with an angel or whether it was a demon who spread his nets of illusions and deception to test you for weaknesses, tendencies, and vices. Angels are always ready to help, but they must see that you are trying to save yourself, that you are fighting evil, fighting vices. Without your participation, they have no right to protect you. Love, appreciate, and honor the angels. They are your defenders and savior from the dark forces of destruction and death. Zatalh. Zatalh is a new caste of defender warriors, not a universal force like the angels or demons that I created, but warriors from among the children of your gods, your creators and parents. These warriors, together with the angels, will protect you from the demons and their endless invading armies. This is the special case when the armies of demons will invade not only the spiritual dimension, but also the material dimension, sowing destruction and death everywhere. This is the invasion, the global harvest, which will affect everyone, both incarnate and descended, even your parents, gods, and supreme gods. Appreciate all who are near you. Appreciate your own. Aksantir, the prophet who records my words, is a member of this new warrior caste. You can call upon him for protection and help by saying his name and title. Now, he will not directly perform the mission of protection. Now he is a prophet, but after the death of the physical body, he will take over this service and begin to prepare all the forces of your parents and the elder creators of the mega cluster for the global invasion of demons, ZATAHASH. Address him as follows: Aksantir, the supreme archwarrior of light. Zatalh is a new entity led in all worlds by warriors younger than 5 million years. Aksantir is now 3,126,241 years old. All the light spirits who wanted to win the honor of holding command positions voluntarily went to rebirth. Rebirth includes the entire process of learning, both in the spiritual dimension, Exalion, and while incarnating in the material dimension. Even the gods do not know that this light spirit has gone for rebirth. I block everyone's memory of past experiences with the one who goes for rebirth. I block the memory of the light spirit itself so that he can gain new experience and win the right to become a defender. Aksantir is now living 29,482 years since the day of rebirth. Both light spirits and dark spirits are chosen for the Zatalh caste. Dark spirits do not need to undergo rebirth because they do not incarnate into the material dimension as light spirits do. They, like light spirits, are chosen on the basis of their skills, merits, and deeds, although they are evaluated according to different criteria. The path of Zatalh, formation of the warrior caste. Now, from the place where your planet Ambrosia is located, in your galaxy Zahmesh, there are 72 levels of the hierarchy of the creators. After each great invasion of the demons, the global harvest, ZATAHASH, defenders, warlords will be chosen, who will rise up the hierarchy and defend more worlds, more star systems. Now the supreme warriors have been chosen and will be chosen, who will organize the defense for 2 levels, yours and the level above. The 72 mandatory global harvest, ZATAHASH, will take place. It will take about 2.5 trillion years, after which the great harvest can be avoided by fulfilling a number of conditions, the most important of which is to be ahead of the local demon army in the level of development. Thus, All levels, all creators and creations will pass through ZATAHASH at least once. The young worlds will pass through it gradually, having reached the necessary level of development. Each warrior from the young worlds will be able to rise up the hierarchy if he is worthy, and will defend not only his own world, but also the worlds of the elder creators. You are all a great family, so you will be welcome everywhere and feel at home everywhere. The warriors of Zatalh and the angels have a great responsibility to protect you all from the dark forces of destruction. But each of you will make your own contribution to the victory. We will research, develop technology, medicine, create all conditions for the prosperity of civilization, create everything necessary for your defenders, and make your important contribution to the highest good. Armageddon, demon forces are already here. Now the demon lords directly control 7 countries. Russian Federation, Eastern Europe, North Asia, People's Republic of China, East Asia, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, East Asia, Islamic Republic of Iran, Western Asia, Federal Republic of Germany, Europe, Islamic State, Middle East, Asia, Africa, Republic of Mozambique, Africa. The Russian Federation has been under the rule of the demons almost continuously since the 15th century. All wars of conquest, slavery of the population called serfdom, devaluation of human life, support for degradation and undignified living standards of their subjects. All these are the merits of the demons. Yes, it is the subjects who have never had power there since the founding of the Muscovite state. Until now, there were only hungry rebellions, and those were pushed by other demons to drown even more people in blood. Now they have in their hands an arsenal of nuclear weapons capable of destroying all major cities on the planet, and they will use it soon. The People's Republic of China was ruled by demons during the Zhongguo period, 475 to 21 BC. And since the 20th century, with the spread of communism and the rule of the one party, concentration camps for indigenous conquered peoples, destruction of the planet's ecology, spreading dangerous chemicals and viruses around the planet, digital concentration camp, aggressive policy towards neighbors, building up the arsenal of nuclear weapons. This is a very small list of the demons' activities in this country. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea has been ruled by demons since the 20th century. The slavery of its own people, the cult of sacrifice for a false leader, the buildup of an arsenal of weapons, including nuclear weapons. Tens of millions of reservists, all of them will wage war on their neighbors. The Islamic Republic of Iran has been under the rule of demons from the 1st century BC to the 2nd century AD, the 12th century, the 20th century, and up to the present day. In the name of God, the demons prepare the believers for the holy war against the infidels. Jihad is how the demons can twist and distort the holy scriptures. Just as in the Russian Federation with Orthodox Christianity, Muslims in this country are shrouded in a false religion that drives them to go to war and kill all those who do not accept their faith and authority. The Federal Republic of Germany has been under the rule of demons since the 19th century. Now this country is completely in the power of a group of elites who control everything from the shadows, using finance and influence, putting their people at the helm of power. The worldview that has been spreading in the Western world in recent decades is the product of their activities. Sadomasochism, debauchery, child abuse, rape, undermining trust in moral and ethical principles and authorities, leveling the importance of the traditional family and love for others. Demons replace this with passion and vices. This is the main sphere of activity of various foundations and paid activists in civilized countries. It was Germany that became the catalyst for the influx of migrants from aggressive Muslim countries. You thought you were showing mercy by accepting them, but these people were supposed to restore order in their countries, not flee, betraying their people to rich countries and feed at your expense. Many of them are infected with the plague of jihad. Among them are demons who will raise this crowd on the fateful day to drown the European Union, England, the United States of America, and Canada in blood from within, while from outside, you will be attacked by the forces of the countries under the rule of the demons. The Islamic State, this terrorist state that has spread its nets across many countries and continents, sets jihad as its main goal, the so-called war against the infidels. Like all fanatics who have fallen under the religious influence of the demons, they know no mercy and will kill everyone, not sparing themselves, blowing themselves up in crowded places and causing carnage wherever they set foot. The Republic of Mozambique has been ruled by demons since the 20th century. The destruction of the country's ecology, impoverishment, and hunger of the population, all this will push them to bloody raids on neighboring countries where they will find their leaders, demons, who will incite bloody conflicts across the African continent, bringing with them hunger and epidemics. The actions of the demons are not always coordinated. They feel a thirst for blood and destruction. Often they want their own blood. They want to compete with each other. The main thing is that the blood of people is shed. This was the case in the 20th century when the supreme demons, led by the Third Reich, Federal Republic of Germany, and the USSR, Russian Federation, started the Second World War, which took the lives of 56 million people. Tens of millions of destinies were destroyed and desecrated. On the other side of the world, China, PRC, People's Republic of China, and Japan, which were in the orbit of influence and interest of the demons, also joined the war. Before and after this war, 49 million people were killed in camps and famines in the USSR and China. However, what awaits your civilization now has nothing to compare with in the history you know. The beginning. The first step is the migration from wars and famine of migrants from the Middle East and Africa. Among them, there are many aggressive religious fanatics who will be ready to start jihad, holy war against the infidels, at the right time. Among them, there are also demons in human form, leading them, giving them false faith and promises of rewards for dying in the war against the infidels. They will burn Europe, England, the United States of America, and Canada from within when it all starts. Cataclysms and climate change. You can already see the cataclysms and solar activity, and there will be more of them. Droughts and frosts will cause famine across the planet. Food will be plentiful only in the tropical forests, but there will be pandemics of new diseases caused by viruses, microorganisms, and parasites. Earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions will become commonplace. Those who want to survive will have to go inland, away from active volcanoes and large cities. Weapons. The war between the Russian Federation and Ukraine has launched a global arms race, and all these weapons will be used within the next 6 years. The beginning of the harvest. The global war will begin in April, May 2027, when the People's Republic of China, PRC, will launch an operation to capture Taiwan, an island state off the coast of China. From that moment on, all states will be gradually drawn into a war, during which major cities in many countries will be wiped out by nuclear strikes, followed by 2 more years of war on land and water without nuclear weapons, until it all ends in 2031. Parties in an eternal conflict. The demons and those who will follow them will be opposed by humans, angels and archangels, dark supreme gods, dark gods and dark spirits, supreme gods of war with their armies. Human bodies are already being grown from the spiritual dimension for all the forces which they will occupy at the right time. Also, people will be able to donate their bodies to the angels and archangels voluntarily. Having passed the sacred ceremonies with mushrooms and other ceremonial plants, they are already preparing for the great harvest to counteract the forces of demons, destruction, and death. 70,000 angels, 7 archangels, 7 dark supreme gods with their armies, 3 supreme gods of war with their armies, the forces of darkness, destruction, and death, 120,000 demons, 82 demon lords, lords of legions, 9 archdemons, Lilith, the supreme archdemon who will lead all the forces of destruction and death. She will destroy all who are not protected by her gods and the forces of light. About 500 million people will remain on your planet. This is 6.24% of the current population. 8.01 billion people who will still have to cope with hunger, cold, and drought. You can already take the first step toward meeting your creators. All the religions you practice are derived from sacred ceremonies with ceremonial mushrooms and plants. So you can come to these gods and then they will guide you to your native god. You have to cast aside your doubts and contact the churches and retreat centers of the Mycomysticism initiative headed by Pavel Mikhailovich Dmitriev, Mycomysticism.com. You can also try to use ceremonial mushrooms and plants yourself to communicate with spirits and gods. You can also go to other specialists and shamans, but there is no guarantee that you will not end up in the demon's saddle, where you can consciously or unconsciously join the other side of the conflict. The choice is always yours to make, and you are responsible for this choice. ZATAHASH. Demons are a deadly destructive force that now hangs not only over the material dimension, but also over Exalion, Midgard. No one can escape it. You must prepare diligently for this demon invasion. Wars will simultaneously escalate on all the planets of your entire mega cluster under the control of the Arch-Readers. Every step of yours, both embodied in the material dimension and in Midgard, is important. Become better, become stronger, become more effective in your life's work and vocation. Each of you is important. You all contribute to the common victory, to the survival of civilizations. When conflicts, bloody cults, demonic sects, debauchery, and wars begin to grow on all the planets, you will have only a few decades before a bloodstorm of such a scale that even your parents and elder creators have not faced. You still have a lot of time, at least 1 million years before ZATAHASH begins in your star systems. However, do not think to neglect this threat. Everyone will participate in it. No one will be able to sit back. Those who are in the rear will work for those who are in the battle, for those who will protect you from the countless armies of demons. You cannot negotiate with demons. Do not expect mercy from them. They will gladly do whatever they want, whatever you allow them to do. It is for your protection from the invasion of demons that a new warrior caste, Zatalh, is being created. The supreme warriors of Zatalh will unite all the powers of your creators, both light and dark spirits. They will coordinate and plan defensive actions. They will prepare the armies, and together with the angels will go into battle with the superior forces of the enemy who wants your blood and your suffering. Honor your defenders and help them in every way you can. Help them with equipment, resources, warm words, and support. Help them in any way you can so that they can protect you. Wars in the material dimension will last from several years to several decades. In Exalion, the invasion can last from a few weeks to several years. It all depends on you, on how effectively you have prepared your defense and how desperately you will fight. For the incarnates, it will be like another erasure of civilization, Armageddon. For the spirits in Midgard, it will be even more terrible. Many creations will be destroyed, many etheric bodies, large and small, much will have to be restored and created anew. But I promise you, you will realize the value of the defenders and the value of you all for each other. It will make you stronger and more united. This is a difficult test, but it is necessary for the sake of the highest good. You need it. You will understand this in time, looking back at these difficult times. In the future, after the first ZATAHASH, you can avoid subsequent invasions or reduce destruction and death by being ahead of the local demon army. The better you learn, the more efficiently you act and develop, the less suffering and wars you will have. They are necessary for you to move forward. If you develop without wars and threats, you will not need them. But as soon as you lose your vigilance and the pace of development and innovation, the demons will come and remind you of the price of happiness and prosperity, the price of life.